Imagine for a moment that you are being introduced at a gathering. The person comes up to the podium and he's supposed to warm up the crowd and let them know what they're in for. What would you want them to say about you? Would your reputation precede you, or would it exceed you? The truth is, your name, your reputation, carries a value that is far greater than any material wealth one could accumulate. Your character and how people perceive you precede you in many situations. Today, we're going to dive into the value of a good name, why it matters, how to build one that stands the test of time, and how your reputation can influence not only opportunities, but also the quality of relationships and the fulfillment of your life. There's a proverb that says, a good name is more desirable than riches. To be esteemed is better than silver and gold. While this wisdom comes from ancient times, it couldn't be more relevant today. A good name can open doors that money cannot. It creates trust, it fosters meaningful relationships, and it leads to opportunities that would otherwise be out of reach. Think about it. If someone is considering you for a job, a collaboration, or even a personal relationship, they'll almost always consider your reputation before your achievements. I had the thought that every job that I have had since 2008 has had a direct connection to my name going before me. Your name creates the favor with man that you need in order to gain the opportunities that you desire. Take a moment and reflect. What is your name associated with? Say your name is Tracy. When someone says Tracy, does the name inspire respect, trust, admiration, or does it leave people uncertain, doubting your intentions or reliability? Consider some of the most respected figures in history. Martin Luther King Jr., Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela. What makes their name so powerful? It's not the bank accounts they had, the possessions they had. It's the strength of their character, their values, and the positive change they made in the world around them. When we're talking about the value of a good name, we're talking about character versus reputation. And it's important to understand these two because while they're related, they are not the same thing. Character is who you are at your core. The values you live by, the decisions you make when no one is watching. Reputation is how others perceive you based on your actions and behavior. The critical thing to understand here is that your reputation flows from your character. You will never sustain a good reputation without a strong foundation of integrity. In today's world that's dominated by social media, it's easy to prioritize appearance over authenticity. A carefully curated online presence can make someone look confident, accomplished, and trustworthy. But here's the thing. You cannot fake integrity for long. Eventually, who you are on the inside will rise to the surface. So my question to you is, are you building your reputation on the solid foundation of character, or are you relying on appearances? True growth begins when you stop focusing on how others see you and start focusing on the person that you want to become. Reputation is an inside-out job. The work that you do on you in private is what attracts the praise in public. We also need to consider the science of trust and integrity. Trust and integrity aren't just psychological ideas. They're actually backed by science. Sound like God to me. But research consistently shows that trust is the cornerstone to meaningful relationships, whether personal or professional. For example, a study published in Psychological Science showed that people who are perceived as trustworthy are more likely to be chosen for leadership roles, partnerships, and long-term collaborations. Why? Because trust reduces uncertainty. When people know that your name stands for honesty, reliability, and fairness, they feel safe counting on you. On the flip side, losing trust can be devastating. A single breach of integrity, one lie, one moment of dishonesty can undo years of effort in building your reputation. This is why it's so important to guard your name carefully, because the simple truth is that it's easier to protect trust than it is to repair it. When it comes to building and protecting a good name, we need to consider that creating a good name doesn't happen overnight, but it's also not as complicated as it may seem. It comes down to consistently aligning your values and your actions. So how do we do it? First is be a person of your word. I don't know what happened, but at some point we stopped honoring our word in society. People say things, they make promises, they don't keep them, and then they act like it's not a big deal. But your word is your bond. If you say you'll do something, follow through, even when it's inconvenient. Swear to your own hurt, which means even if I promise you something and begin to regret that I made the promise, a person of their word says, oh, why did I do that? But you know what? I'm going to own up to it. I'm still going to do what I promised, and I'm going to make the best of the situation. They don't abandon the promise. Reliability is one of the most respected traits in any relationship. When people know they can count on you, your name becomes synonymous with trust. Number 2, treat others with respect. How do you treat the people who can do nothing for you? This is one of the greatest indicators of strong or weak character. How do you treat the server at the restaurant? How do you treat a coworker or a stranger? Treating others with dignity and kindness speaks volumes about who you really are. Number 3, own your mistakes. Mistakes are inevitable, but how you handle them either strengthen or weaken your reputation. And in a lot of instances, people are not angry about the fact that you made a mistake. They're angry about your response to said mistake. We tend to respect people who admit that they're wrong, take responsibility, and do whatever they can to make it right in the moment, as well as consider how to prevent it in the future. Next up, be consistent in your values. Do your actions align with your principles? If honesty is important to you, if honesty is something you value, practice it, not just when it's convenient, but also when it's hard. Consistency is what gives your name credibility. Next, surround yourself with the right people. Sydney Poitier says in The Measure of a Man, when you take a walk with someone, something interesting happens. Either they adjust to your speed or you adjust to theirs. The company you keep speaks volumes about your character. And if you want your name to carry weight, it is supremely important that you surround yourself with people who inspire and challenge you to grow. Let's talk about the benefits in focusing on your name. When you live with integrity, you're not just building your reputation, you're building self-respect. You're becoming someone who you can be proud of. And that inner confidence radiates outward. Professionally, a good name is one of the greatest assets you can have. Employers, clients, partners prioritize individuals with strong character over those with impressive resumes but shaky reputations. And I submit this thought to you. Your name is your greatest recommendation letter. Even more importantly, a good name leaves a legacy. Long after you're gone, people will remember the way you made them feel, the value you stood for, and the impact you had on their lives. Material wealth fades, but the legacy of a good name lasts for generations. We need to be mindful of guarding our name in a fast-paced world, because the temptation to cut corners or sacrifice our integrity just a little bit for a short-term gain, these temptations are real. They're strong. Social media amplifies this, as we're often pressured to portray an image of success rather than living authentically. But here's the truth. Shortcuts rarely lead to to long-term success. Compromising your values for temporary wins can damage your name in ways that are difficult to repair. Instead, take the long cut instead of the shortcut. Before making any decision, ask yourself, does this align with the person I want to be? Am I acting in a way that reflects my values? Will this decision strengthen or weaken the trust that others have in me? When you prioritize your name, you'll find that the rewards far outweigh the sacrifices. And at the end of the day, our name is our legacy. It's the stories people will tell about you, the values they associate with you, and the impact that you leave behind. Building a good name isn't just about how others see you. It's about who you become in the process. By living with integrity, treating others with kindness, and staying true to your values, you can create a name that inspires trust, respect, and admiration. It's not just about what you leave behind for the world. It's about the life you live today. So here's my challenge to you. Commit to living in a way that honors your name. Reflect on the values you want to be known for and make decisions that align with those values. Guard your name fiercely. Never underestimate its power to influence your life, to influence your relationships, to prepare your legacy. A good name is worth far more than any riches you could attain. So build it, protect it, and let it be a source of pride for yourself and others. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to reflect. What does my name stand for today? And what do I want it to stand for in the future? Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspectives. Always remember that growth is a journey. It's not a destination. I'm in it with you, and I'll see you on the next one.